Grammy coming to live with us?" "Does this mean," Celia asked, "that I don't have to go to Paul's after school?" She knew the answer was yes, of course, but thought she'd mention it while they were on the subject. She and Paul were the last two drop-offs on their bus route. They'd been best friends when they were younger, but now Paul, who was a year younger and a grade behind her in school, was starting to get on her nerves. There wasn't much left of the school year, and she had her fill of being bossed around. Maybe it was because she'd gone to his house every day after school since kindergarten. Her parents worked long hours at the company they owned. Lovejoy World was a business that made traditional toys and board games. Their products were environmentally friendly and had won many awards. The company's motto was the phrase, "Bring back family time," printed beneath a sketch of a family sitting around the table playing Trixie Dixie, the Good Deed game, something her father had invented. It was voted America's most beloved board game for children under 12, and Celia loved to play it. But Paul was never interested, insisting they pretend to be army spies or ninjas instead. He got to pick the games, he said, because it was his house, and he thought the Good Deed game was stupid. "Yes," said her mother. "You won't have to go to Paul's house anymore. You can get off the bus right here at home and stay with your grandmother until your father or I get back from work." Celia thought about how nice it would be to not have to go to Paul's and said, "I think this will work out just fine." Chapter 2. When her aunt and grandmother arrived that Sunday, Celia was sent to help Grammy unpack, while the other adults, her parents and Aunt Joanne, went over important details in the living room. Celia was glad not to be a part of that discussion. She already knew what it would be about. Medication and eyeglasses and money. Nothing she cared about. It would be more interesting to see what Grammy pulled out of her suitcases. "Is this all you have?" Celia asked, helping to lift 3 suitcases onto the bed. "When you get to be my age, you don't need very much." Grammy smiled and rested a hand on Celia's forehead, like she was checking for a fever. Her grandmother's skin felt warm and smelled like the baby powder Celia's mother sprinkled in her running shoes. The first suitcase was all clothing. Celia helped put things on hangers, while her grandmother put nightgowns, socks, and underwear into dresser drawers. The next 2 suitcases contained what grandmother called personal items. She had books with a pillow, cut glass bottles of perfume, a jewelry box filled with treasures, and framed family photographs. While Celia unwrapped the paper from each breakable item, grandmother arranged the pictures on the top of the long, flat dresser. Celia recognized most of the photos. There was one of her father and Aunt Joanna's children, taken on the front porch of their house, the very same house she lived in now. Both of them wore cowboy hats and fringed vests. Another picture showed Grammy and her husband on their wedding day. Both of them were very skinny and very young. So different from being old, Grammy, and dead, the grandfather she'd never met. Grandmother held up a photo Celia hadn't seen before. "Do you know who this little girl is?" Celia studied it carefully. The girl in the black and white photo looked just like her, but it wasn't her. Certainly she'd never worn her hair pulled up to one side with a bow perched on top like an enormous butterfly. But the face was definitely what she saw in the mirror each morning. Pale skin, freckled nose, and a dimple in one cheek. Her mother said Celia had a heart-shaped face, which was supposed to be a good thing. Puzzled, Celia shook her head. "You can't figure it out," Grammy said. "This is a photo of me when I was about your age." Celia took the photo from Grammy's hand to get a closer look. "It looks just like me,"